Let's get started on the new drawing today. Today I'm going to try to draw a bit of, what is this, military uniforms. Clothing is always very interesting and fun to draw, but it can also be very difficult. Partly because you will need a knowledge on the human body in order to properly draw the clothes. If you don't know proper proportions, things like that, your clothes can easily end up maybe too long, too short, too baggy. Although, mistakes here and there are fine. I'm gonna set up for myself a few guidelines to help me draw today. For me personally, I find that using circles is a good guideline for me. Or scratch that, let's not use circles. We're just going to use a few simple lines as guidelines for proportion. All artists have different proportions for the way that they draw people. If you are a classicist and you like to draw realistically, I think the average for a guy is around maybe 6.5 heads, but I'm actually not too sure about that. If you're a cartoonist, it could range anywhere from around 3 heads to 6 heads, maybe even just one head. Okay, let's get started. Just a rough sketch. For me, I like to use the proportions that often use, which is around 6 heads. At least for females, they will make them around 6 heads tall. I think for the guys, they do around 6.5 or 7, which is, as I just mentioned, kind of normal for the classical method. But you'll find that each part of the body is a bit different proportion than what you would see in real life, as it is a bit more cartoony, more not realistic, I guess. Although it's always interesting to me to see how much realistic knowledge a lot of cartoonists will have, because they didn't become the experts in cartooning just by drawing silly things. Maybe there are some people like that, but I feel a lot of them have spent a great deal of time mastering classical methods and proper drawing techniques to be able to develop a style that is unique to them, but also still pleasing to the eyes because it follows natural laws, natural proportions, things that our eyes are used to seeing every day. So I'm just drawing a basic head for this fellow. He's got a big head here. Now for the longest time I had a lot of trouble drawing heads. Not in the realistic way, but in the even just a sort of cartoony way. And you might think that's a little bit strange, because shouldn't cartoon heads be extremely easy to draw and fairly simple? And the answer is yes. It is simple. You could do anything. You could just draw 2 eyes and a mouth, and there you go. You have a perfect representation of a face. But obviously we don't want to stop there. I think a lot of good artists have found a perfect balance between just capturing the natural look of a human in real life and sort of married that to an imaginative conception of life. I always find it interesting when I study an artist a bit and find that the way that they're drawing a character is completely maybe inconsistent isn't the word I'm looking for, but completely different from what a real or lifelike art of a person would look like. And yet, because they are following the very basic principles of drawing a person, that they are still able to maintain that human essence in that picture, and they create their own art with that. And I always admire artists for that. I'm just laying out the basic form of this soldier's body so that I can have an easier time figuring out how his clothes are going to form on his body. You take a professional artist, and a lot of them don't even need to do that anymore. They've drawn so much to the point that they have human anatomy natural to them, so that they don't need to draw the body to give them guidelines. They can just immediately start drawing it, and they've got it. I think this will do. Now you may be thinking, the model I've built here looks surprisingly young. Doesn't look like a grown person's body, and that's again because it's a cartoon rendering of a human. And a lot of times cartoonists will make their characters have a shorter body, which will make them look younger, but not just because it's short, but because the head will retain its normal size. So while the body shrinks, the head becomes bigger, basically. So if we were to say to draw a person like this, we can perhaps naturally assume that this person is a grown person. But let's say that we shrunk the body down. Well, we'll just shrink the body down. We'll keep the head its regular shape, but we'll only touch the body, and the body maybe looks like this. Now, obviously, now we got something that looks more akin to a baby. And I think this is the sort of method that a lot of cartoonists use to add a little bit of sort of charm and also a cartoony feel to their drawings. The characters themselves are not necessarily younger. It's just that the artist has employed a technique where it can be a little bit more cute or more charming, or just more interesting for that matter. Working on the vest. But before I continue on with the vest, I actually want to work on the arms a little bit, because as you can see, they're going to be sort of covering the body in a lot of areas. And I think it's just a bit easier to draw the things that are in front so that you don't have to go back and erase so much of what you've drawn over what's behind an object. Let's also draw this soldier's collar. to the other arm. Now, I've realized I've missed out on another thing, which is the gun that they're holding. So let's kind of get that into the picture. Although, to be honest, we can easily erase what we've drawn since this is a program and erasing is so much easier. All you need is just to press a button and easily erase what you've drawn. Oops. Of course, back when there weren't any drawing programs and the like, drawing was so much more tedious. You'd have to really get that eraser going on your paper to get rid of something you've drawn, and even then, sometimes maybe you've added a bit too much pressure to your drawing, and so you end up with just a lot of smudge and just a bit of remnant of the lines that you had drawn. And no matter what you do, you couldn't get rid of it. That was always super frustrating. Of course, the trick to avoiding that problem is to just draw lightly. Use very soft, gentle pencil markings. Not to be too, how shall we say, firm with your paper, but just sort of letting your pencil glide across it, so that you don't create any heavy imprints on the paper and make it too difficult to erase for yourself. But of course, when we're younger, we don't really know that. But once you get the hang of it, makes your drawing a lot more clear. It helps you to draw with more, how should I say, more clarity. Now, why don't we go on to the hands? Hands are always difficult, and even I myself haven't put in a lot of study of the hands. There's a lot of great techniques, a lot of great methods to learn how to draw a hand very simply. It's not that hard once you know the tricks and the tips. If you don't know, then it's an absolute, it's like trying to fly a plane without knowing how to. Just becomes an almost impossible task. You're just sort of flailing around, doing what you can to survive. But if you learn the techniques that other artists use, then it becomes just a piece of cake. And even now you can see my technique with hands is not very good because the hands are so small, but I'm actually not going to deal too much with small details like that for now. Maybe just put the impression of a little badge right there. Badges are cool. You don't know what they mean, but they're just cool. I don't know why. I don't know who decided that badges are cool. No one taught you that badges are cool. You just sort of came to that conclusion yourself. Or maybe you haven't. Maybe there are some people out there who don't think badges are cool. But anyways, like I said, with a program, you no longer need to worry about drawing into your paper so hard that the pencil lines become impossible to erase. In fact, now, even with undo buttons, you don't even need to go over the lines with a eraser. You just press back and voila, you get to start anew. And with all this great technology and all these convenient ways to speed up the process of learning, you'd think that we would how to say this, be a bit more skillful in the things that we do. But as in my case, that's not exactly how things turn out, usually. I think the people in the past were skilled at the things that they did because they understood that it's not an easy task, and they were dedicated to their art. It wasn't easy, but they decided to put in the effort and hard work. And that's why they became the masters of their craft. I'm just drawing this line here so I have a better idea of where exactly the vest is on his back. I don't want to draw his shirt too close or too far away. I can see that the vest is probably lying around somewhere here, so his shirt is probably sticking out a little bit like this. Not like military pants, they're so baggy. And I don't know, I think baggy things are kind of fun to draw. They're just, basically a bunch of curved lines. Now let's get rid of the legs underneath to see how the picture looks. Obviously, because we're not drawing an X-ray here, we just wanted the legs there as guidelines. Alright, doesn't look so bad, but it actually kind of looks like he's very goofily spreading his legs out a bit. Let's see if we can fix that. We want to draw him firmly set on the ground. He's a soldier. He's always ready for action. just pressing the back button a couple of times and I'm back to where I once was. In fact, I actually want to go a bit further back, so let's do that. Alright, I think I see the problem here. I've drawn the leg at this angle, but I want it completely straight down like this. And that's another kind of tricky thing about art, because it's not simply a matter of drawing a leg like this. You know, the leg has muscles, and those muscles create curves and lines, and those lines aren't straight. They follow the sort of anatomy. And so I'm not going to draw the leg like this. Although I could, if I were really going for a lot more comical appearance, but what I'm trying to go for here is a balance. You know, and I'm really just following the techniques that I've kind of learned from observing my favorite artists, seeing how they draw, trying to figure out their mentality. You know, as I draw, I try to think, you know, how did they come to this drawing? I actually like that, like I drew there. Just kind of keep it up there for now. There we go. Now we can see that our leg is definitely going straight down. It's no longer drifting off to the side like that. There we go. Alright, let's see if we can finally get the pants on now. Let's erase what we have underneath to get a good idea of what we've drawn and how it looks. There we go, that's not so bad. It's extremely baggy though. That's definitely not how baggy most military uniforms are, but hey, I actually like it, so let's keep it that way. This is kind of also the process you find yourself in when trying to find your own style. You know, and you could change your style as you go along. For now, my style is that I like baggy pants, and if you look at just a photo of a armed soldier, you would find that their pants aren't as baggy as this. But it's almost as if you can interpret what you're seeing. You're making a sort of statement, saying, I think this is the way the world looks like. And it's not necessarily how the world actually looks, it's just that's the way you're interpreting it. And some people will agree, some people won't. But that's the sort of beauty in art, is that the beauty of art and interpretation, because you can have different ideas about it. I actually want to maybe actually bring his vest down right here. There we go. That actually looks a bit better. And there we go. Now on to the shoes. I think one of the reasons why the pants here look a bit too baggy is because for the right leg I've actually brought down the pants a bit too low. They should actually be around this height. Same with these, with the left leg. But I actually kind of like where it is. I kind of like the idea that his pants are sort of sagging down. Why do I like that idea? I don't know, it just adds a little bit of an interesting story, I guess. You know, it could be that he didn't tuck his, well, actually, no, I changed that thought. I was going to say that maybe he didn't tuck his pants into his boots correctly, but I don't think a proper military soldier would easily make that sort of mistake. So let's just say that he's been running around and he's been moving around a lot, and eventually the bottom of his pant legs just started to slip out from his shoes. So let's just get the boots. And the other side. The left leg is still intact. Well inside. There we go. Now, finally. Well, the body's still not done. We still got a few more things to do. Why don't we just finish up a little bit? I'm going to keep the gun as a sort of cardboard box that he's holding. I'm not very good at drawing guns. Let's see. I want to add a few wrinkle lines here to show that just to sort of show that the shirt is all crumpled up by all the things he's wearing. You know. And of course, every vest needs pockets. What would a vest be without pockets. Utility pockets. Vests just seem to be another cool quirk of the military. They're very cool. And again, no one decided that they're cool. No one made vests a fashionable thing. Or maybe someone did. Maybe because behind everything there is a designer. And of course they designed vests to be fitting for a soldier. There's a word for something that's designed to help with accessibility of taking objects out, putting things in, or to keep things from falling out, or to fit the form of the body so that when you're running or moving, it sort of it makes it comfortable or easier to move around in. I don't remember the word though. Let's kind of pad up these shoulder parts a bit. Vests are always a lot cooler when they've got these big shoulder, shoulder pads to them. There we go. Alright, so there we go. So we started off with a figure using around a 6 head height, and at the beginning it looked very childlike, but actually as we've filled it in with a clothing, we find that we can actually change our impression of the model. Now it doesn't look so young anymore. It still looks relatively young if compared to a drawing that was perhaps more realistic in appearance, but if we look at this picture here and now, we wouldn't be able to really tell if this was a sort of grown person or not. But now let's draw the face, and then actually I'm not going to draw a very old looking face. That's not what I'm trying to do here. I'm just trying to create a sort of fun character, and I want to add a bit of sort of manga cartoon element to it. Now, this drawing is actually very small, so I think the eyes have to be very simplified. I won't be able to do any of the fun lighting stuff that a lot of artists do, and they add a lot of color, they add a lot of shading, they add a lot of sparkles. It's all big sort of mishmash of nice effects that make the eyes very pretty, but I'm actually not a big fan of that. I'm actually a fan of more simplified eyes, something like this, just a line and a little dot, it adds character in my opinion, something like this. It's in my opinion, it's a bit more generic, doesn't add too much emotion. It's pretty, and it can definitely make a character look very beautiful, very pretty, very cute. And I personally, I do like to draw eyes in this fashion with very thick, and let me tell you, anime eyebrows are thick, like they're just thick. I do like to draw eyes with this sort of shining, big shining spot right here, and a little bit of a pupil, maybe a bit of I don't even know what this is, but there's something that a lot of sort of manga artists do. They draw these two angled lines at the side. I'm not really sure what it is, but it has a great effect, and just something like this, and maybe even a double eyelid. And then you can create a very, very pretty character out of that. But there are artists out there who will take that to the next level, and just in the eye they will add all sorts of effects and put sparkles right here, and they're small and it's barely noticeable, and here it'll be a sort of fading color so that it's very dark at the top, and then just sort of blending into a lighter part at the bottom, and up here, again, there'll be just a rainbow color effect all over, and more sparkles here and there, and it's just, oh boy, the eye in itself is a masterpiece. But personally, for me, I prefer more simple eyes like this, and they just, I don't know, they add a lot of character, and I kind of like that, That's just my taste. So, since this drawing is very small, I think I'm going to have to do that. If the drawing was a bit more sized, like this eye, right, then I would probably be able to draw the eye a bit more detailed like that, but just the eye itself is almost the size of the face of this character, so I don't think I'm going to be able to draw very detailed eyes there, but that's okay. Now, another part of drawing that's quite fun is expressions. The expressions are fun. Even through the eyes I've just drawn here, we see a whole array of expressions. We've got something like a bit of a unbroken stare, and we don't really know what the person might be thinking. They're just kind of staring, and are they angry, or are they just kind of focused? This one actually kind of looks like they're angry, but maybe if we draw some eyebrows like this, well, that completely changes the intent of their expression right here. With this expression, obviously we have someone that's clearly a bit upset, maybe a bit unnerved, But again, if you just add a mouth, you could completely change the intent of that expression. If we draw a smiley face, then it's something mischievous. But if we drew a mouth that is going down, then then we know that they're a bit upset. Or something like this, where you just have someone who's shocked. That's kind of the first impression you would get from seeing eyes like this, but then, and you had eyebrows, and now they're a little bit shocked, but a little bit scared or worried or sad. But then you add a mouth, and maybe they're laughing. They're laughing at somebody. That's why I just think expressions are so much fun. They're just a lot of fun to do. For now, with this character, we're not actually trying to do anything too crazy. So, he's just being himself. He's looking towards us. This is more of a sort of, I don't know if this is the right word. I've heard it used somewhere else. I may be using it completely wrong, but a candid shot. This still looks a little bit off, but I kind of like this right eye here. I kind of like that the helmet is sort of blocking the top part of his eye. But let's see if I can fix up the left eye here. there's still something that I don't quite agree with. And at this point, I could use some guidelines, but I think I'm a little bit too far gone with the helmet that I've drawn. It's already sort of placed the position of the head in place. Let's also draw this other side of the helmet. Let's see if this will work. There we go. I think that's actually a lot better. It's not quite what I'm looking for though. So let's go back. Maybe I'm gonna have to give up on this eye a little bit, because this eye here, in relation to how the face is positioned, is actually not entirely correct. There we go. I think that's agreeable enough. One last little tweak, I want to make his eyebrows a little bit bigger. I think eyebrows are such an important part of the expression. There we go. Kind of like where that has gone. Alright, well, I think that's good enough for today. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed today's stream. Thank you for joining me today. I hope to see you guys again very soon, and I hope you all have a great day or a good night. I'll see you guys next time.